Hello. Hi, it's Christine here with part 2 of my review for Every Day by David Levithan. If you are here by accident, this is kind of your warning. There's going to be some spoilers in here, and I do not want to ruin the book for you if you haven't read it. I'm going to talk about a few things in here. Nothing too terribly bad that'll give away the essential parts of the story, but some of them are pretty close. So, don't want to ruin the book for you if you haven't read it. I will annotate here for part 1 if you want to check that out. There's no spoilers in there. Just my overall feelings about the book and essentially what it's about. But yeah, so click here. Last warning. Alright. Gone. Alright. So if you're here for part 2, which means you don't care about the spoilers or you have already read the book and you're interested to see what I thought in more detail. I have notes in here, so apologize if I'm looking down, but a lot of it, like I said, I really enjoyed this book. I thought a lot of the chapters and a lot of the side characters that A becomes had really well done stories. Like there's one, Kelsey, who is a depressed teen, and she has suicidal thoughts and is struggling with that and is so distant from a lot of people, and I thought that was well done. I could so relate to her. 7th grade, I kind of went through the same thing, and I related to her, and I thought it was a well done story / chapter. And there's other things in here. Like, I really thought A and I were going to get along through the whole book. He's so open-minded, especially about a lot of societal issues, like sexual orientation, race, that kind of a thing. Like in here about homosexuality, he becomes a gay teen who's in a relationship, and him and his boyfriend and 2 of their other friends go to this gay pride festival type of a thing. And there's a bunch of protesters there, and he says, in my experience, desire is desire and love is love. I have never fallen in love with a gender. I have fallen in love with the individual. So I know that he says, I know this is hard for people to do, but I don't understand why it's so hard when it's so obvious. And then there's a bunch of protesters at the festival as well. And there's like religious undertones in here. He becomes this boy who after the switch wakes up on the side of the road and thinks that the devil took over his body and seeks religion and gets help from a whole bunch of religious activists kind of people. And anyway, at this thing, there's protesters there that says homosexuality is the devil's work, which you typically find when it comes to protesters. And A says, I think about how people use the devil as an alias for the things they fear. The cause and effect is backward. The devil doesn't make anyone do anything. People just do things and blame the devil after, which I thought was a very valid point, and I totally agree. Most of the time, that's essentially what's going on. But yeah, there's great love quotes in here about what love is, essentially, even though he's a 16-year-old boy. And that's another thing that kind of bugged me, is that he meets Rhiannon the first day and says, oh, we're meant to be, kind of a thing. But you see them struggle. It's not just like a easygoing kind of a thing. You see them kind of go back and forth, especially Rhiannon. She has a hard time understanding, which, I mean, if I was in her shoes, I'd be like, what the hell is going on? But yeah. And then there's like life quotes about when you question everything, and so good. I mean, I really liked it. There's a guy in here who is obsessed with quotes and writes them on Post-its, something that I am obviously obsessed with as well. And I loved that character. I really related to Kelsey, and I also related to, what was it? I think it was Finn Taylor towards the end of the book here. And this is the chapter that I take away a message, and it totally may not be what David Levithan is getting through. I was just fuming. I was like, what is the point here? And I set it down for a little bit to cool off, because it's okay. So the chapter is when A becomes this fat teen or overweight teen, has weight issues. He just he is described as 300 pounds, but he's also described really harshly at being a person who has always been heavy and bullied for it. It just didn't sit well with me, and I'm probably overly sensitive to the issue, and so be it. Ugh, just really ticked me off. I mean, especially since this is a YA novel. I know it's not middle grade, but it's still, you know, aimed at younger kids who may have, you know, are still trying to figure out who they are and have self-image issues as well as everything else. And I just thought it kind of, you know, for any overweight kid who reads this, or those who think they're, you know, have body image issues, think it could really set them into the wrong direction. I don't know if it's basically trying to say that A has other flaws. I mean, up until this point, the only flaw you really see from him, in my opinion, is that he switches bodies every day. And then there's some other stuff between him and Rhiannon that I could see as a flaw. But I don't know if it's just to say that A isn't as open-minded as you would think he is. I so did not agree with this chapter. I thought it was overly cruel than what it needed to be. But other than that, and then wanting some more detail about a branch off of A's story, it was a really good book. And I give it 4 out of 5 stars, so, I mean, really, do check it out. And if you do, or if you've already read it, I'd love to hear what you have to say. And what do you think about my first video review? Do you want them longer, shorter? Is this about right? Do you like the 2-part thing? And yeah, constructive criticism. Don't just say, oh, you suck, because, you know, thank you, but that doesn't really help me change anything. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on Everyday by David Levithan. Do check it out. It's great. And I will see you tomorrow with another tag.